Hey brother, what's going on? How you doing?
What's going on, D man? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. How's everything been with you? I know these times are kind of crazy for pastors right now, a lot going on.
Yeah, it's been busy times, man. Keeping me really busy, but this is what you signed up for, so I love
It
it.
is. I think the interesting thing about for you, I think you're the I don't know if you're the only, but I think for sure the first like pastor that we worked with from Indiana, obviously where I'm from, and then you're from Muncie or
Yeah,
Kokomo, which is like right there, which was interesting. You had I can't remember how we initially came in contact, but was it through an ad or someone in Indiana that you had heard about it, or do you remember?
I think it might have been an Instagram ad uh, first, and then I think we connected in Instagram
Yeah, you're right.
messaging.
I think we had just connected, and then it just so happened that you were living in Indiana, and then I was like, oh, like I think I recognized your number. It was like a 765 number, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And then I was like, man, I'm from Kokomo. Like, where are you from? And then you're like, oh yeah, I'm right here in Muncie. So it's
yeah.
crazy.
And
So what I want to do first is just kind of for the people that are watching this, tell us a little bit more about yourself and then your ministry, and then we'll kind of get into everything else.
okay, well, I've been in ministry for 23 years, but the last 10 of them, almost 10, it'll be 10 in July 2021, but it's been as a senior pastor or lead pastor of the church that I've been at all my life. So I grew up at that church, and now I'm taking the reins of that church. But I also work a 9 to 5. I work for General Motors. So I've been doing both, and I'm a community activist. So I've got like three hats that I wear, and I try to do it all to the glory of God. But sometimes when you're juggling all that, you're afraid you're going to drop a ball here and there. But God's been faithful. So
Now, one thing I will say about you, man, like, and obviously we haven't known each other for like years and years and years, but since I have known you, I feel like you do those things well. You know what I mean? Like you're doing them to the best of your ability. I one thing I've noticed during this time is it's easy for people to say, "Well, times are tough. I'm too busy," and they use that as an excuse for like inaction. And it's been dope to see you. It's like I might not know exactly what I'm doing in every area, but I'm doing something, and then I'm gonna seek that help um, to get it done. So I guess kind of talk a little bit about like what that experience was like for you, like with everything that's been going on, trying to navigate social media, having a job, having these other things, but still saying, I still this is still something I need to get done, and I got to figure out a way no matter what.
well, honestly, I'd have to say that the coaching call I had with you, the first initial call I had with you, gave me confidence that what I was doing was the right direction. You're encouraging me that, even though I've got a lot going on, that I was trying to at least put content out there. And that helped me to know because I'm trying to stay active, but sometimes you don't always know. And I may not look it, but I'm in my middle 40s. So feel like I'm getting away from the millennial crowd. I'm getting older. And so that's just an excuse to give up and be like, these people won't
Right, right.
notice me. But just talking to you, just it kind of reignited my passion to know you're doing the right thing. You just need some tweaks, and that you would be there to help coach me. And so I kind of appreciate that gave me confidence to keep doing what you're doing and just keep trying to take it up another level. And it's not always about having everything perfect. It's just keep consistency. And that's what
Right.
I kind of learned from you.
And so when you say that first coaching call, do you mean like once you joined the program, or you mean like that strategy session that we had before you were even like a member?
Yeah, that strategy session, the thing that made me become a member, just talking, because you know you're talking to me, but of course you have something you can offer me, but you were just talking almost man to man, and I could tell that
Right.
you cared about ministry, you care about souls, and just what you were telling me was letting me know, oh, this is somebody I can work with because he's got the same idea that I have. It's not about making a name for ourselves. It's about getting the gospel out and trying every avenue that we can. And social media is just another tool to do that, but it's a huge tool because I'm only one person and I can only be in one place. If I
Right.
can send a tweet out, a post out, that'll reach. I've had people reach, say from South Africa, say, "Oh man, I love what you said. I loved your video. There's no way I could go
Right.
to South Africa in a day and do that." So,
Especially
uh,
right now.
yeah, especially now, yeah.
Yeah.
So the maximizing what you're already doing is something that I felt like you were encouraging me just as you were talking, and that kind of before I even heard any more about the program, I was almost sold just by talking to you because I could tell you had the right heart, which I enjoyed.
And I think not to go into a rabbit hole, but like that's where I've had to find that balance because it's like I put a lot into that part. You know what I mean? To me, it's like I really do care about helping people. But when I guess there's a level of expectation that everybody is going to have that same level of seriousness or ready to go for their ministry. And it's like you talk to so many people that sometimes it can be overwhelming. So for me, it's awesome when I come across people that have that same passion and are like, yo, I just needed the help. Like, let's do this rather than, oh, I would do it, but this or that, or all these different reasons why we can't do something. My thought is like, like we have God, like we can do these things. Like there's no such thing as we're too small or we're too old or anything. It's like God can pave the way. And so for me, it's just, trying to help as many people as possible with that and really open up the mindset, which I think, me and you have even jumped on Clubhouse and I think, the wisdom that you have is awesome to be a part of as well.
Appreciate it.
So what would you say was like the main issue or roadblock that you and your ministry were facing before you joined the program that made you even interested in it in the first place?
Well, um, one thing was getting traction, or we were trying to do stuff, but people weren't seeing what we were doing. So I was looking at the time investment in some of the posts and wondering, okay, no one's really clicking on it. No one seems to be engaging with it. And I remember seeing a video of yours that talks about treating your social media as like a church bulletin. And
Right.
as I went and looked,
Panera bread by the bathrooms.
yeah. And as I went back and looked at some of the stuff, I was like, oh, I see. Yeah, this is kind of who wants to engage with that. So that was one of the reasons that made me want to talk to you. And then as you started sharing things with me, I realized I was doing some of those things already on my personal page. So I have a
Hmm.
personal ministry, and then I have a church ministry. And so I didn't want to, well, not to get on the rabbit hole either, but some ministries, they have the pastor is the face of the ministry. And I didn't
Right.
really want that to be the case. I wanted God to be the face of the ministry. So I did some stuff on my personal side, but I realized from talking to you that some of the things that I was doing will actually translate well on the church side. So I learned I was already doing it, now just a way of incorporating it all together. And that's given me confidence, like, oh no, actually I know what I'm doing. It's just being personable with
Right.
people. And nobody wants to come to a page that's just bland. Just be personal, even if it's
Yeah.
humorous, or there's so many ways to get the point across. And so I'm learning how to do that. But I guess one of the roadblocks initially was thinking, how can I do this all by myself? And now that I've learned some things from you, I know how to train someone else to take over when I need things done.
And so speak a little bit more, I guess, about like that part, like specifically.
Well, with the SME program itself, it breaks it down like step by step. So my problem was I do so much that I didn't know how to train somebody else to do what I'm doing because it's all in my head, so to speak. I have
Right.
an idea, I run with it, I create, I put it out there, see if it works. But then when I start looking at the program, you have like step by step, like how to crop the video, what site to go to. So as I begin to farm out some of the responsibilities to other people, I can just take them right to what you taught me through the program and say, hey, this is a step by step how to do it. And I can still have my creative touch on it, and they can do it without me having to spend hours and hours trying to train one person who uh, in our city, there's a lot of college people, so they come for a while and then they may go back home where they came from, and then I got to train
Right.
someone all over again. So the program makes it so much easier for me to be able to delegate responsibility because it's laid out step by step. You almost have to be dull to miss it because it's like laid out step by step by step.
Right. And I think even if so for you, it's like you knew it, and then it's like to train someone else, I got to take that time to train, which is like taking time out of my already busy schedule. But for let's say a pastor that doesn't even have that information, how do you go from not having it to getting it to then training it or passing it on to somebody else?
Yeah, that's a lot of hurdles. And even me, I didn't know that I had it. I was guessing, but coming to your program and let me know, oh, actually, I was making some right guesses, but now it explains to me why I was making the right guess and showing me where I was guessing wrong. Because when you're operating by trial and error, that's okay, but it takes longer.
So
So
just kind of helping you be more efficient and taking some of the guesswork out.
yes, definitely.
And so, was there anything else that you were looking at during that time, or did you just kind of come across? I was like, "Hey, this is something that I might be interested in."
I was looking at I was actually wanting someone I could turn the whole thing over to. I wanted to like find one person, give them all my ideas and dump the whole thing over to
Right.
them. But I see that it wasn't really feasible, and it was kind of really honestly more of an excuse to stop doing it and let somebody else do it because I'm thinking I'm going to be too busy. But I think with your coaching, it helped me understand, no, I don't have to do it that way. I can bring a team of people and I can still have creative influence and still be really personal. Because sometimes you can go to people's social media and you can tell when they're not interacting.
Right,
You
right,
can
for
tell
sure.
it looks robotic.
Like politicians,
Yeah,
usually.
yeah, something like that. So I didn't want to lose the personal touch. So I think I have a much better strategy than I had before uh, getting involved.
So one thing that I do get a lot, not all the time, because they'll read about our information, but I'll get pastors or yeah, pastors that are like, hey, we just want someone to just do all this for us. We don't even want to touch it. We don't want to mess around with any members. Just we want someone to just take this over for us. So, in your personal opinion, what's the benefit of being able to do some of that stuff in house, having a system that you own that you can plug people in versus just, hey, let's hire somebody and just let's forget it. They can just run everything for us.
I mean that idea, the latter idea, might work for mega ministry with a lot of money. That might be what they need. But many times when you're dealing with smaller ministries and ministries that are growing, people want to feel like you're touchable, like you're reachable. And so doing it the other way, the way you've coached me to do it, I still feel like I have like real contact and I've been able to develop real relationships with people. Number one, with my team, but number two, when I post something, people realize, oh, that's really him posting that. That's really him sharing that. And sometimes I've been able to actually minister to people, which is what we're after, because they'll reach out to me. They'll reach out through a direct message. And, my team will let me know, hey, so and so wants prayer for their child,
Oh,
or
nice.
this is going on. And so you feel like you're pastoring more than just the people that you see day to day. You're actually pastoring some of the people on social media, and some of them don't have a church at all. So you become
Right.
that connection, and it may not be forever, but you might be discipling them till they find their pastor. So I think that is so important for what I'm trying to do. And like, you may be a ministry that wants to do it the other way, but for what I'm trying to do, this is the best route for me.
And I know you like you're pretty active on social media, like even on your personal, even on like Instagram and other things. Like you're starting to get really creative, and I can see like the impact that's making and the ideas is cool. Do you feel like what you're doing, someone else could have their team do? Because I know some pastors might hear that and be like, okay, that's cool, but I don't always want to have to post every single thing. Can they still have similar results as what you guys have been getting, but maybe, hey, I'm going to do the video, but my team takes care of it, or they post it, or they answer those prayer request messages? What do you think that would look like?
Yeah, I think that can be done. Sometimes in my case, and my situation, I keep crazy hours. So something will pop in my head at a certain time, and I just want to go ahead and get it out.
Just
I don't
getting
want to
out
wake
there.
some,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to wake someone up to do it. But I'm also so learning that if you have a team, you can actually do several of those things whenever you feel like, and then have your team roll them out at specific strategic times. So one of the drawbacks I've had from doing it by myself is I don't understand the algorithms. So I don't know when's the best time to post it, when's the right time. So when you have a team looking at that, and they say, hey, let's gather all the
The data.
creativity that you have, the data,
Oh
and
yeah.
then let's roll it out, more strategically. I'll give, let's say I upload 3 videos to one of my team members, and they say, hey, over the next month, I'm going to drop each video once a week. Then it's off of
Right.
my hands and it's in their hands, but there's still the same thing is getting done.
So
So
it's like more eyes can kind of get in there and see, take it. Like, I mean, the more eyes, like you can see deeper analytics. Obviously, you can do that yourself, but it's like now I got to post and look at that. But having a team and that's in house that you can communicate with could maybe even help that even more so.
yeah, and right now we don't have that team yet to do that. We're growing it, but with the program, like I said, I'm able to train them quicker and faster than what
Right.
I would have had I
Just
just
doing it by
trying to,
yourself.
yeah, doing my, or the other idea that trying to dump it all on someone, that wouldn't have been cost effective for what we're trying to do. It would have cost a lot of money.
That's
And
another thing I tell people. I'm like, hey, you can do it, but are you going to sacrifice quality or are you going to sacrifice money? Because it's going to be probably one or the other.
yeah, and a lot of times
Either
we end up sacrificing quality is what we end up doing.
right.
We,
Let me find someone I can pay $5 a week for this, and it's like, how come it doesn't look as good as I want it to? It's
yeah,
like because the people that know how to do it good are gonna want to get paid. Definitely, most likely. Was there anything like in particular, like what do you feel like in the program has like helped you out like the most personally?
I go back just to the our initial talk, just the heart that you had for the goal of it. Is you weren't just trying to sell a program. You actually have a goal. You kept talking about souls, and you kept talking about getting the gospel out, and just having someone who is not just trying to sell you another business idea, but is actually thinking about the kingdom of God. That alone was worth me at least paying attention to. And then once I got into it, I still keep going back to that the whole program was set up with the specific goal of how do we magnify God more? How do we make him big? How do we give him a chance to show our faith? And so for me, it's the intangible things that still outweigh everything for me, even though the details of it is good. It's just, it's a chance for me as a pastor to walk by faith. I teach my people to walk by faith. And when I listen to you, that's the first thing you're talking about. You're talking about taking steps of faith and trusting God. So, as much as it's an investment in the program, it's also an investment in you as your tenacity and your faith, which I think is good because we partner with each other. We're helpers
Right.
one to another. So I feel like I'm a part of something bigger. It's not just about my church. I feel like that whoever's in the group, I feel like we are part of a bigger group
Yeah, for
working together.
sure.
Even though I don't know them all, I think whatever made them make that leap is probably the same thing that made me make the leap, which is God.
And it's like we're all in different parts of life, like all different ages, all different locations, but we all kind of have like a common goal. And now it's like we're using the same mediums to kind of achieve it, which is cool. Because some people they didn't even know how to open an email before before they got into the program. So to see them now doing the things that they're doing now is really cool to see. And it's like for me, it's awesome to see a church like doing well on social media. That's cool. But to be like, yo, that person got baptized because now you know how to post like a video on social media is like the dopest like thing for me. Cause like that person might have never, who knows what their life would be like, if we wouldn't been able to reach them.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking too. And people want they want bigger numbers and bigger things for of various different reasons. But to hear someone say, "I want the numbers specifically for godly things," or or to reach one person. You often kept saying if we just reach one person, and it sounds cliche, but I bought into it, hook, line, and sinker, because I'm like, that's why I do what I do, because I'm just trying to make a difference.
So one thing I wanted to talk about, which I think was interesting, you told me on a coaching call. I don't want to mention the specific amount because we already done changed it. But I remember when we were on the call, you were like, "Man, not that you didn't believe in it, but obviously, it's a substantial, investment. It's not something people would just be willing to just throw away." And I remember you were just like, "I'm gonna go all in with this." And I think it was only like 3 or 4 weeks later, and you're like, "Yo, remember when I was feeling this way about the program, but I already was able to see those funds back or see a return on that." Talk a little bit about that, maybe for someone that's watching this that is like, "Hey, I want to take that leap of faith. This sounds good, but like, is this?" A lot of times people say, "Well, it worked for Andre. How do I know it's going to work for me? And how do I know that I'm going to, get the ROI or see results in this? What does that look like?" So from someone that's been in those shoes, I was like, "Yo, I don't know if this is something I feel comfortable 100% with. I believe in it. I get what he's saying, but I'm still going out on a limb." And then to see like that turnaround, what kind of describe like what that experience was like for you?
Well, I'll even be even more transparent. If you remember, I before we had our first call, I inboxed you and said, I don't think this program is going to be
Right, right. I
right
remember
for
that now.
me,
Yeah.
because of and I had some various reasons, and so I didn't want to waste your time. And you were like, I appreciate that, but let's just talk anyway. So as we talked, one thing, when it got to the place to actually make the investment, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to pull that out of the church funds. It was going to come out of my personal funds because of some other things that we had, COVID and some other things that we were doing. And so that made it a little different, because I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to make a personal investment. And at that particular time, I was going to have to use a credit card, which I had zero debt at the time, and I don't like ending the year with debt. And so
And
I
this is
think,
around Thanksgiving,
yeah,
around Christmas time, all that.
this was November. So that
Right.
meant that I just assumed in January I was going to have some debt, but I thought it was going to be for a good cause. But by December, I had everything back. It and
It's crazy.
it's I mean, and I really can't even explain how, but it's just like it was just there, and things kept happening, and like I had a member walk up to me and just put $1,000 in my hand and say, God, I believe in what you're doing, and God told me to give this. And I'm just like, you know, things that you can't explain except for
Right, right.
faith things. And so now we're in a place of surplus, both me and the church. So if I was to have to do the program today, I wouldn't even have to pull it out of my pocket. I could have I could pull it out of the church side.
That's
And so
amazing, bro.
yeah, and there's no other way to explain it other than just stepping out in faith, and like the long-term goals of reaching a lot of people. I believe that that's going to happen because the money came back so fast. So I think God is just showing me like, hey, yeah, you made the right decision, and there's more to come.
And I like what you told me too, because I think it's spot on. You were like, "Hey, this is what happened. I can't contribute 100% of it to the program, but I think part of it is the program's helping me, but the other part is like I just took a leap of faith." And I thought like like that was a really, honest and true statement, because it's like you said, and I mean we talk about that and preachers preach about that, where it's like, God is going to do the unimaginable when we take that leap of faith. But sometimes we have all these what ifs, like, well, what if it doesn't work, or what if this? And it's like I feel like sometimes we like can block that, when it's like you would have never in your mind thought, well, if I join this program, it's going to be okay, because 2 weeks from now this person is going to walk up to me, give me $1,000. Okay, yeah, let's do it. It's like you would have never even thought probably that
Yeah.
that would even have happened. um One question I have, because one of the things that I do get quite often is pastors will say, and I just want your personal, if you don't mind, your personal take on this, is I would love to do this, but I don't want to mix my personal with the church money, like at all, like no matter what it is. Don't even matter sometimes if it's $5, $10. Is like I don't want to mix the personal with the ministry, which I understand to a degree. But I also know a lot of entrepreneurs. It's like in order to get your business where it's going, you're going to have to take money from your personal. So as far as a pastor standpoint and someone that has done that and seen the return on that, what is your kind of feedback on that? And for someone that might be in that position where it's like, hey, this might be something I want to do, but I might have to invest in it personally. What is your take on that?
Well, at the end of the day, you are your own brand. And if you are running a ministry, that ministry reflects you. So sometimes you have to put skin in the game. You can't be afraid to do something. And as leaders, it's hard for us to expect members to really give and put their all in if we're reluctant to do the same. So I understand people not wanting to take money from the church and mix it for personal gain. I understand that. But sometimes dumping and pouring into the church is just it's just necessary. It's just to show that the Bible says where your treasure is, your heart is. So is your heart really in the ministry? If it is, then your time, your blood, your sweat, your tears, and including your money will go into that because you really believe in it. Now, hopefully, it's not like that forever. I'm not saying you should always be in that place of
Right, right,
sacrifice,
right.
but sometimes it's just necessary. And I think sometimes we're tested to see how much we really believe what we're talking. And for me, it's been that way. But I have to say the returns have been phenomenal. Now, the reason why I work a natural job is because my church isn't able to pay me what I'm worth, so to speak. And I could take it, but I choose not to. I choose to have basically a side hustle so I can invest everything back into the ministry because of where we're going. And I think one benefit of that is once you reach the level that God wants you to reach, nobody can say you did it off of the backs of the people, or he
Right,
stole all
right,
the people's money, or he's a
right.
charlatan. They can't say that because you invested much more than you ever took back until the tables turned. And then when the tables turn, you start getting more back than you could have ever invested. And then when that happens, who cares what people think or say? Because you know up front, you did all the hard work up front. And
I
and
think
my
for you that go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, and also my wife is a business owner, so I understand the very first 5 to 10 years of a business. A lot of times you're doing a whole lot, putting a whole lot
Oh
in,
yeah,
but then there,
100%. And I think the thing for you is like you had a vision. So it's like I'm not taking money from the church right now because I want to do this. And so I could pay myself, but I'm gonna take that and put it into the church. And what I see a lot of people say, whether they get on a call with us or not, is, well, if God wants this to happen, it'll happen. If God wants us to have the building, well, he'll make it happen. If God wants us to have the people, will happen. And the thing that concerns me sometimes is it seems like certain people are using that as an excuse for inaction. And my wife always tells people like God gives you the ingredients. He doesn't give you a cake. Like he gives you the ingredients. If you want the cake, you got to put it together and put it in the oven. But and that's the thing that sometimes concerns me with leaders, whether it's in ministry or not, where it's like we have to have like a no excuses kind of like mentality of like we're gonna get this done. And for me, it's like how hard are you willing to hustle? You know what I mean? Like if you had to invest in something and you didn't know how you were going to pay it, like what would you be willing to do? Because like for me, it's like all right, what shoes can I sell? What can I sell? What other hustle can, like, what I'm not going to do is just not be able to save people just like because I don't know. It's like you got to figure it out. And I think that I want to help people have more of that mentality where it's like, yo, we got to do whatever it takes. We can't be saying that Jesus paid the price and he got hands or nails in his hands and feet, but it's like we don't want to take any risk. It's like, how does that work?
yeah, that's true. And I even go back to the Garden of Eden before sin and anything. God gave them a charge to dress it and keep it. They were supposed to work in the garden to take care of it. They were supposed to
Right.
do some action well before Satan even showed up. So that lets me know in anything God gives us, dude, he doesn't give us always the finished product. He plans on us to do something with it. So I'm just trying to do something with what God has given me, and you're helping me be more effective and more efficient, and that's beneficial to me.
So what would you say has been like the biggest outcome thus far since like joining and becoming a member?
It may be something that may not mean a lot to other people, but means a lot to me. But it's been confidence. It's been the confidence that, yeah, you are actually on the right track. People who are, you're quite a bit younger than me, but someone who's younger than you actually is looking at what you're doing and saying, "Hey, like, dude, you're killing it. You
Right.
just need some more things." So I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, I lucked into this. And thought I was, I was just trying to do the right thing. So it's giving me confidence that if I keep following a certain process, that there's no way to go backwards. It's only going to get better. And so it's giving me that confidence just to keep doing and keep pushing, and to know that even as like COVID ends and people start coming into my church, they're going to be people who have some of these expertise levels, and I'll be able to say, "Hey, we already got a program for that. I can show you what we
Right.
need to do. You can work with me," but knowing that I've got a plan that works, and I'm just confident that it's going to pay off.
So where do you feel like you would be with everything like if you wouldn't have joined? Like how do you feel like things would be different maybe?
I would have still been trying to do some things. I just wouldn't have had that confidence, and I wouldn't have had that faith testimony of taking that leap,
Mhm.
seeing things happen so fast. So there's so many bad things that happened in 2020. So at the end of 2020, I'm getting quick major blessings. So moving into 2021, I've got all this excitement and encouragement about the path we're on. And I don't know if I would have had that without making that investment, out making that leap. And also just a few of the tools. So in 2021, we're working on redoing the website. That was a goal, not knowing that it was in the program. The
Right.
very it's so it's like right there. So just I would have probably had less faith and been under more stress than I am now, where I'm feeling more excited and feeling like, oh yeah, I can do that. And even when I get a little stressed about something, I feel like, oh no, I can do this. It can be done. And then I just have to go back to the coaching thing. And I like the fact you can always go back, even though you heard it. You don't catch everything when you're watching
Right,
something.
right.
So I remember there was something I was working on and I was stuck, and I went back and I was like, oh, you actually explained it. I just missed it. Maybe I spaced it. It's
Right,
there.
right.
So being able to go back and keep looking at it, and there may be something in the program that you don't even know that you need until you need it,
And
and
then you
then
go
when you
back, you're like, oh wait, this is here the whole time.
yeah, it's already there. Yeah.
So how do you feel like that has how do you feel like that has impacted the way that you're preaching and reaching out to other people, having that obviously you've been like faithful, not like you just like started like having faith, but kind of testing your own faith and seeing how that paid off. How do you feel like that has impacted like the way that you're preaching now, or talking to other people, or inspiring them?
I would say my preaching and all that is, I don't think it's changed that, but it changed my thought process on a certain thing. And what I mean by that is, uh, for 2021, I've run into a lot of people who have had to adjust what they were. A lot of entrepreneurial people who've had to adjust because of the pandemic, and it's inspired me to know that coaching is like super important, because so many of us are doing it on our own, and there's somebody who
Mhm.
can just walk you through. And if even if all you get out of it is confidence, it makes a difference. So it just makes me think the importance of relationships, coaching relationships. And it's also made me think of the fact that I could actually start coaching myself in in my lane of preaching. I know other preachers and pastors that I probably could coach. So it's totally changed how I think about doing things, and it's opened up so many possibilities to me. So it's gone well beyond my preaching and reaching. It's almost chartered a course for me for after I come off the job. I see how there's many things that I could do that I didn't even think about until just getting into the program, and even hearing your story. I watched your story about how you took a leap of faith and you got a
Oh yeah.
coach, and that inspired me and showed me. It's just, I don't know, it's just opened up so many more possibilities. Like, it's almost like God tricked me to think just about the social media, and He's opened up all kinds of other ideas in my head because of it.
And I think like that's what for me, that's what I love about social media. I feel like it's, back then they had the Bible, like you read about it, you sit at a campfire and they tell you, but now you can use social media to show people why they should believe in God. I feel like we can't, it's not all about the house and money and all this type of stuff, but if we're not taking a leap of faith and we have no money, we don't have any type of physical well-being, we don't have a good marriage, we don't have anything that's of abundance or of God, why would people on social media that are looking at other things, why would they be like, okay, let me go gravitate to this? But I think when we're like, this is the life that I live, and the way that I'm getting there is by having my faith in God instead of these other things, I think that's when people start watching and go, man, like I've seen that. I watched it when you were here, and now you're there, and like it's amazing what you're doing. And I see that you're talking about God and all these different types of things. I want to be a part of that. And I think social media gives us a very good opportunity to display in real time, like the miracles that God is doing, rather than like you were saying before, just promoting for services. It's like, let's show what God is doing. And if enough people are doing that, like people are gonna like this is something like clearly we need to get into.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Well, so the last question I would have for you is, let's say for anybody that's watching this, that let's say like they're interested kind of in the program, but they're like on the fence, like, oh man, I don't know if I want to do this. It sounds good, but should I do it or not? What would you say to someone that's on the fence thinking about it, like whether they should do it or not?
It's an old saying, but trust your gut. That pull that you feel like deep in your gut, you don't get that for things that are not meant for you. So there's somebody who's probably on the fence, but they're feeling that thing. They're just feeling that nudge to do it, do it, do it. The devil's not trying to tell you to do it. So
Right.
it's more than likely more than likely it's God. So take it and see what happens. And what's the worst that could happen? That, okay, well, I lost some money out of it, but even in that case, you fail forward. I mean, like, you're not going to be in a bad position if you're already on the fence. More than likely, you need to make that leap. If you're not even at the ballpark, then it's not for you. But if you're already on the fence, you got that close for a reason. Go ahead and try it, and see what God will do with it. And it might be like me, it might open up something totally different that you thought when you were first signing up. It might open up several things. So think outside the box and think bigger than just what you're being offered, and give God a chance to do something.
Yeah, I love that, bro. Somebody yesterday asked me, they were like, how did you keep pushing like when things got tough? And I was like, I asked myself, like what was the worst case scenario, kind of like what you said, and they were like, well, I'm going through that right now. I'm like, okay, so what's the worst case scenario? And they're like, I don't know, like I would lose my job if I try to go chase my dreams. I'm like, okay, well, what would happen then? Like I probably have to get rid of my apartment. I was like, oh, okay, then what would happen? Like I have to find a place to live. I'm like, okay, so you're gonna go to the streets, or like, nah, I mean, I could probably live with like my family or like, my mom or something like that. I'm like, okay, and then what? Like then from there I would just have to like build from there. I'm like, so you just have to ask yourself, are you willing to do that to chase your dream? So I'm like, for me, it was like, I'm not gonna stop trying to help pastors just because I might have to move in with my family and then be embarrassed by people that don't even know me, that might judge me, that are never actually going to tell me to my face. And it's like, I think, like you said, it's like, what's the worst case scenario that could happen? And are you going to let that stop you from doing what you feel like, if you feel like that's what God is calling you to do, and then turn around and preach to other people that, well, Jonah should have went to Nineveh because he knew that's what he was supposed to do, even though they were cutting people's heads off there. And it's like, that's a crazy worst case scenario. Like, bro, if I go there, they could kill me. And it's like,
Yeah.
we're like, well, I could lose $100 if I do this, but it's like, but if if it works, you're reaching hundreds or thousands of people and helping them go to heaven. But we don't want to risk this to do that. And that's what I think, that's important. What you said, it's like, well, what's the worst case scenario? And are you willing, what would happen if that happened? Would you still be able to survive? And are you willing to risk it? I mean, we're gonna go to heaven anyway, so it's like you're not gonna get there and be like, man, I all those times that I was going to Red Lobster, I missed that. You know what I mean? You're gonna be in heaven, you're not gonna be thinking about that. So
yeah, that's true.
Man, no, I love it, man, and it's crazy because I don't think you've even been in the program 2 months at this point.
No, I haven't. So December, yeah, I haven't. So I'm just scratching the
And
surface.
and if you think about it, we kind of took off everyone, but took off. I mean, we had Thanksgiving in that period. We had Christmas in that period, and then we had New Year's, and then everybody's kind of been distracted with what's going on at the Capitol and whatnot. So it's like to see all that you've done with all these little breaks in between. I'm excited to see what happens when you have like a full year of just knocking this out consistently, and then when you get like a team under you.
Yeah, yeah. So it's all upside for me at this point now.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you coming on here, sharing the wisdom and just everything, man. It's always awesome when we connect. And I just look forward to us doing things together. Like I said, how we'll get on the clubhouse or we'll get in rooms and just contribute just together, man. So it's always a pleasure linking up with you. And I'm glad that we were able to connect, man. It's been valuable for me as well.
All right, great, man. Give love to the wife, and it's always good to hook up with a fellow who's your native.
100%, bro. Appreciate you,
Yeah.
man.
All right, man. Have a good